full day, or it is at the moment anyway, in Melbourne. It's also the first day of the Formula 1 event. So Thursday, media day inside the paddock. Sun's up at the moment, no guarantee it's still going to be there as the day goes on, but let's go and see. I'm looking forward to it. Off for breakfast and then down to the track. So off to work then for the first day of the season, and who knows what Albert Park and the Australian Grand Prix has got in store. This is a kind of fairly unique track on the calendar in that it's a bit different to many other circuits. It's not sort of extreme in any way, so it's not extremely fast, it's not extremely high downforce, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. It's very, very different to Barcelona, of course, where all the testing took place. And although it looks like it might be hot or reasonably warm today, Thursday, and tomorrow and Friday, Saturday looks like it could be wet. Sunday looks like it could be dry but much cooler. And of course we've got brand new tyres for 2018, a whole new range. They're all a bit softer. They're all got different temperature working ranges as well. So no one really knows, from Barcelona of course, which is run in very cold conditions on that very different track, no one really knows how their car is going to perform under these conditions. I kind of like that. I like the unpredictability of that. We've also got teams bringing major upgrades. McLaren and Force India notably are bringing big upgrades that were always planned for here. But I did see yesterday the Red Bull team, as most of the teams are doing at the moment, bringing in huge numbers of boxes of new parts that are being flown in at the last minute. All the last minute upgrades that they're going to bolt onto their car today, ready to hit the track this time tomorrow morning. So for us today is a bit of a system check, make sure that everything's working as it should. We've got the press conference which we put to air on Sky F1 as well, and a full day of media interviews with drivers, team principals, and a few other bits of filming here and there. So it's still reasonably chilled at this point before it all gets very serious tomorrow. I'm about to go into the track now, so the camera's got to go down. I shall join you again later, let you know what's happened. Right, Thursday in the paddock, done. It was a good day today, sun was shining, it was really quite warm actually, really nice, beautiful day in Melbourne, and really nice to be back in a busy, bustling paddock again with everybody back in work mode, really up for it. Everyone's buzzing about the start of the season. The general feeling amongst the paddock here today is that, you know, Mercedes are definitely going to be the ones to beat. I know people have been saying that for a while now, but the more you talk to people around the paddock, the more you talk to the engineers, particularly in qualifying trim, which Mercedes didn't even really crank up to in Barcelona, generally the feeling is that they've got something in hand. Lewis Hamilton called it party mode when he cranks the little rotary dial up on his steering wheel and, you know, turns it up to number 11, if you like, really goes for it in qualifying. He can't wait to get that thing fired up and get it going. And the general feeling, as I say, is that when they do that, they're going to be very difficult to catch. Most of the other teams, certainly most of the other engine manufacturers, with the possible exception of Ferrari, but the others, and I think this probably includes Ferrari to some extent, have had to focus, and Mercedes as well, but they've had to focus on reliability and durability this year because, you know, the amount of mileage that each engine has to do now, or each power unit, is a lot greater than it was last year. So only 3 internal combustion engines per driver, you know, for the whole season. So each one effectively has to do 7 races. That's a lot. And so the development work over the winter for most of those engine manufacturers was all about improving the durability and reliability over and above perhaps increasing outright performance. Mercedes are claiming, and you know, they've got to be pretty confident if they're going to come and say this out loud, you know, they're saying that they haven't just worked on durability and reliability, they have improved performance as well. I think the air of confidence that they've got, when you see people in the paddock, when you talk to the engineers there, they're obviously not saying they're going to go away and blitz it, but most of the guys at the other teams are very well aware that that could be a real possibility. So anyway, that was the biggest thing for me that came out of the day. This real feeling that they are, have got some performance in hand that we haven't yet seen. That was the biggest thing. As I say, everyone in relaxed mood. The two Red Bull drivers in really good form today. What struck me actually with those two, seeing them around the paddock, was just how well they got on with each other, or they're getting on with each other. I know the public persona or the public face that all of these drivers put on is that they get on with their teammate. Certainly this time of year, it's all kind of friendly and bubbly. But I genuinely think with the Red Bull drivers, they do kind of have a healthy respect for each other, but they have a good laugh together. I think the way that team operates, the environment that it creates for its drivers is a very relaxed one. And that perhaps is how you get the best out of a driver with that kind of personality. Danny Ricciardo is definitely one of those. Max Verstappen, we already know that he's that kind of character as well. So maybe Red Bull are creating the perfect environment for their specific drivers. We'll have to wait and see. Sebastian Vettel got a pretty slick new haircut. If you saw the press conference today, you'll have seen that. We had a pretty impressive display, something for you all to look forward to on Sunday, by the Royal Australian Air Force doing their aerobatic display overhead. They were practicing that today in formations, a bit like the Red Arrows back in the UK. Really impressive stuff, very, very low as well. And the aeroplanes flying, what seems like centimetres away from each other. So that's pretty cool to watch. We also saw for the first time yesterday and today the new start light system. Because the halos are on these cars this year, there is a concern that particularly the guys at the front of the grid, pole position and maybe second place, because the start light gantry is very kind of close to them, they're having to look up at such a trajectory to see the regular start lights on the overhead gantry, that actually the halo may impair the vision of some of those drivers, and they might have to kind of try and stretch and move their head too much to have to see those. And so what Charlie Whiting has done is taken the second set of start lights, which used to be halfway down the grid for the guys at the back to see, or to help see, which they didn't really need because they can all see the overhead start lights at the front. So Charlie's taken that second set of lights and actually put it in front, about, I think it's from looking at it, it looks like maybe 10 metres, 5 or 10 metres in front of the start light gantry, and much lower down and to the left is this second set of lights. So the guys on the front rows, instead of having to look up at the overhead gantry now, can just look over to the left and in a much lower position to see the second set of start lights. So it seems like a sensible move. They're going to allow everybody on Friday morning to do practice starts at the end of the practice session, which is something that they don't normally do here, but because of the halo, they're going to make an exception and allow the drivers to go onto the start grid at the end of the practice session and do a practice start to see that they can see the lights. So I think that was those are the biggest kind of developments. No major breaking news. We were kind of wondering whether we might get an announcement today on Lewis Hamilton's new contract at Mercedes. It didn't come in the end, but I think that's only a matter of time that we hear that he has indeed extended his contract. Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, I guess Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Räikkönen, 4 fairly big names who are out of contract at the end of this season, as it currently stands. As I say, we expect Lewis to sign on again and stay at Mercedes. Danny Ricciardo is still weighing up options. Kimi, we probably think will go. We think it'll be his last season in the sport. He's had a good long run at it. And Valtteri Bottas, very much, I guess, dependent on his performance this year. But I wonder if Danny Ricciardo is desperately looking, or got an eye, at least half an eye, on Valtteri Bottas's seat at Mercedes. That's the kind of the current feeling that's the only thing really holding up Danny Ricciardo's signature on another Red Bull contract. Whether he's looking for either that Bottas seat at Mercedes or Kimi's seat at Ferrari. two very good options, two very good seats. It's been a very good day, as I say. Busy one for us at Sky. We've been checking all the systems, making sure everything works, kind of rehearsing various things that we're going to be doing over the weekend that may have changed from last year. Obviously running around doing all the interviews in the paddock, making sure we've got lots of content for you over the weekend. It's all coming together nicely. I'm really excited for Sky viewers to see what we're doing this year, because I think it's going to be really good, really interesting, and hopefully a really great insight. As I said the other day, we've got Nico Rosberg joining us. We've got Damon Hill, Johnny Herbert, Paul di Resta with us this weekend as well as the usual crowd. And some really, really interesting stuff coming your way. So it's been a good day. And look, if we have a look outside my hotel window, you can just see that the sun is setting over here in Melbourne. It's towards the end of the day now. I think it's around about 7:30 in the evening. The sun's going down, and tomorrow is where it all begins again. We see cars on track, and we will get some kind of idea of who's quick and who's not.